Hello, everyone. Welcome back and welcome all new subscribers. It's been a minute, but the last week and a half has actually been physically rough for me. So things got put off for just a little while, but we did do that joint live with Daily Excellence and with Off Grid Paul and Adrienne. So I've been around, but just not necessarily on this channel. I want to welcome everyone. Hello, Sister Carol. Good to see you again. Belinda and Adrienne and BJ. Great to see all of you guys. Hopefully Daily Excellence is coming up. It was like right after that live we all did on Paul's channel. A few more days we'll find out if the channel will get posted back up. In the meantime, I want to encourage you to take a look at the backup links for the channels in the description box, because those things happen so often that I really recommend, I have backup channels also in this description box. So please check those out if you're interested. And also, I do have my PayPal link and a new Buy Me a Coffee. That is what it's called, link also, because it came well recommended. This is about space wars, our future. This is about supernatural beings. We find ourselves in strange and perilous times, and we have a future ahead of us. But I've mentioned more than once that we don't know at this point when we're going to go, just that all of us have an appointment to leave this earth, and that we don't have a whole lot of time to really get things together and get it right, repent, and make peace with God, right? And I do my preaching pretty much wherever I go. And lately, y'all know that since March, I've been fixing my car. And I'm talking, I have a stack of receipts of this car I've been fixing. And just like the last 3 weeks, I fixed the solenoid, the alternator, and put in a new battery just in the last 3 weeks. And then yesterday, the check engine light has the audacity to come back on, right? So I'm thinking, okay, I'll call my mechanic. I got the car home. I don't know what's wrong with it. I'm going to get a code reader here this afternoon. But his wife called me back this morning. I knew something was not right because he always calls me back. I'm guaranteed money, you know. I'm a good customer. And she told me he died on Monday in a car crash. A mechanic died in a car. Now, on some weird level, it makes sense. He loved vehicles. But at the other end of the spectrum here, he left behind a wife and a 1-month-old baby. He is 29. I'm pretty sure he was 29 years old. So I want to let you know that when we talk about the future, that doesn't mean all of us are going to be there, okay? And there are things that have been happening in our past and in our present that are leading up to, but we're still all experiencing these things directly or indirectly. And that's why we have to have this conversation. But most important, no matter what information you get, you've got to get saved. You have got to give your heart to God and take Jesus as your Savior, because people are dropping like flies. And this was another instance where I was preaching and they were about to pass away. So this one is a very sad one for me because I also couldn't get it in time. And it's over. You know? Don't let that be you. Please. None of us have that much time. Don't think you're gonna make it to 77 years old. All right. Hello, Debbie and Daryl, Kathleen, Clarissa, and Demar. Oh, everybody's here. Awesome. All right, let's hear what we had to talk about today. Now, Space Wars is becoming more prominent, right? Because it's a future wars domain. And when you think Space Wars, you automatically think like Star Trek and alien comrades. And I guess that's kind of close to the truth, because The United States government and many others, I'm sure of it, have collaborated with the fallen, which they call aliens, but it is a future war domain. Now, that could be from asteroids coming in. It can be from through other countries sending in explosive types of things, right? Space war. They're anticipating war. All right, they're preparing for it. I mean, it doesn't get much crazier than this, right? But then you think about it, they're not the aliens. They're not exactly what we're fighting, are we? We're fighting each other. And we've also got these little Terminator robots. We thought it was just a movie. No, not anymore. This is our strange reality. They have Terminator robots, and they're looking more and more human by the day. I mean, it's almost like we're going to have to start carrying magnets just to find out who's human and who's not. I'm thinking out of the top of my head. But also, speaking of space, that red star Nibiru has been visible lately. I think it was Africa they saw it. But I'm starting to realize more and more why this one video I had was banned several years ago, and my channel was shadow banned about that same time. I was talking about the South Atlantic anomaly, but I mentioned in there that this solar system that's coming in must be visible from Antarctica. And I named all my reasons. And, so to see it in the, Cape Town, South Africa area, that makes a lot of sense, but the red star is visible. So you would have to think, in terms of wars, it wouldn't necessarily be with a being, but it could also be with space debris coming in, right? Now, they also have mentioned lately this thing called anti-missile time displacement. Again, I think it was Mike from Around the World that mentioned this, and he'll be on tonight around 9 o'clock Central Time on Paul Begley's channel. But the missile could be in another time. It could be in another dimension. It can be in a parallel universe, and it's So I doubt that will happen. But these are the kinds of things that they're working on, and these things are actually possible. Okay, so to get us ready for this very complicated electronic war, they've been biologically swabbing the population to personalize control over you. Personalized control. Biological swabbing. That went on the last few years. Previous to that and ongoing into this day, we've had programming and been put in trances by video games, cell phones, TV, and our computers through their methods, but they got in through our emotions as well. So I ask you to start guarding those. Stop thinking with your emotions. Start thinking with your brain. Not that you don't have emotions. Not that you don't use those, but don't let your cords be plucked so easily. Okay? Stop. Think. Stop. And it's about what it is that you feel you're being led to do. And if it's get angry, then think about for a second what it is you intend to do. What is it that your emotions are about to get you into before you do it? Stop. Okay, because you are being used. You have got to control your emotions or they're going to. This is the kind of war that we're going into. Brother will betray brother. They had help, okay? They had incentives, or should I say they will have, okay? Because it hasn't happened quite yet. But oh, believe me, they'll have it, whether it's your starving belly or whatever. They will personalize your particular control system just for you. Now, they might say that it's personalized digital world for you. It'll be everything you ever wanted. And that's if they're selling it to you. But ultimately, it's not something they're selling. It's something that they are absolutely doing. Okay? You also need to think about the frequencies and the devil's music. Entertainment has come a long way, and there are frequencies. A lot of the music is inspired by Satan. There were pacts made, such as that dude that played the guitar that went to the crossroads back in the day when pictures were still in black and white. He played blues. And then there are older medieval stories about the Pied Piper, and we all know, we always get this dread in our stomach when it's time to pay the piper. And there's always a cost, okay? There's always a very big cost. So while they're playing and partying with their music, their cell phones, their entertainment, their computer, the piper has everyone basically, and this is a metaphorical thing, but it's real in a sense, meaning everything has a cost. And if you're wasting time right now, especially right now, just thinking that you're just eating, drinking, listening to music and TV, not paying any attention, you're already behind the eight ball. Okay, you really are. You have to be aware. Stephen Ben Noon says that Planet X has been spotted and that FEMA is preparing. And recently, we all know we had, now this is getting more into spiritual beings, the Las Vegas alien sighting. The fallen, their Nephilim, their along with their biogenetic creations, they're being seen. So I guess the children of all these kidnapped abductees, I imagine that would have something to do with that. You know, these part alien, part human things, beasts, bloodthirsty creatures. All right. But there's something even more concerning. I don't know if I want to even say if it's more concerning, but I would say it's just as concerning. And I'll talk to you in just a second. I want to check out the chat real quick. Daryl says 13th century legend of the Pied Piper who led away the rats from the town of Hamlin, and when he was refused payment for his services, led away the 130 children. Yes, right. But there was that charmed element to his flute. He led them away via this hypnotic music. So that is what happened to the kids. But there are definitely different elements. You're absolutely right. Thank you, Daryl, for bringing that in. Hello, Red Storm and Jan Murray. Good to see you guys again. All right. Let's keep going because now we're going to keep talking about these supernatural entities. Now, I've mentioned on this channel before, I did a whole video about the Harbingers of Doom that today's people call Mothman. And when they're around, that's a bad sign that doom is on the way. So I got wind of the Chicago Mothman. Now again, it's a group of them. It's not just one. They're very ancient creatures. Ancient. Now, what's bothering me about this one is that the sightings have been going on since I think they said 2011, but they really picked up around 2017. I wanted to read this article, okay? And what I saw, I looked on this map and I realized, oh no. This isn't just in Chicago. It's Wisconsin, a lot of Wisconsin, some in Indiana, some in Illinois. And I realized it's not about Chicago. It's about the Great Lakes and the New Madrid Fault. Now, yeah, Chicago's getting a lot of heat, but you got to think about all the destruction that's been going on there already. But that would not explain all of the sightings that's beyond Chicago and in the direction it is, in this place that it is. That's really bothering me because we know that the New Madrid is heating up, right? And that the Gulf of Mexico is responsible for the quakes on the New Madrid. But this article, it was written December 10th, 2021. Winged humanoid and harbinger of death or a large bird, you be the judge. The Mothman is the stuff of urban legend, with the first well-known sighting occurring in a small town in West Virginia in the 1960s. Since then, the Mothman has sometimes been called a harbinger of cataclysmic events. Now remember, this was in 2021 this was written. The legend of the Mothman hit the mainstream when writer John Keel wrote, The Mothman Prophecies, a true story, about a bridge collapse that killed 46 people in Point Pleasant, West Virginia. Keel believed a rash of sightings prior to the bridge collapse of a winged humanoid was meant as a warning. The movie The Mothman Prophecies was made in 2002 and based on Keel's book, Mothman in Chicago. But the Mothman has not been seen only around West Virginia. The Singular Fortean Society is a website dedicated to exploring unusual phenomena, and their team has created a timeline of Mothman sightings in the greater Chicago area, mainly around Lake Michigan. See, I told you these things are ancient. And being in the times that we're in, there's a return of a lot of ancient things lately, right? It should be noted, the occurrence of the Chicago Mothman sightings is not only being noticed by websites that track strange stuff. Chicago NPR station, WBEZ, did an in-depth report about the Chicago Mothman in 2019. There is also a documentary on the trail of the Lake Michigan Mothman currently streaming on Amazon Prime that covers a string of sightings that occurred in Chicago, Michigan, and Indiana in 2017. I wrote about the Chicago Mothman at the beginning of the year. Since my writing, the Singular Fortean Society has tracked additional sightings. The article goes on, but I have to sign up in order to do that. Now, this is just some of the beings we've got. Nephilim, Fallen, we've got Terminator Robot, Harbingers of Doom. So there's a lot going on. I'm telling you, we got the Jezebel spirit we were talking about just last Sunday, right? We got a lot. There's a lot of spirit warfare going on right now. It's unbelievable. Now, my experience with the supernatural started so young. A lot of you know about the fact that I went to hell about, gosh, what year was that? It was 2014, so it's almost been 10 years since I went to hell. But I also used to see Jesus as a little girl all the time. But I lived in a certain town, right? Lived back then. It was right after we got out of the Army. We were stationed in Fort Polk, Louisiana until May 1979, right? But we moved to Crosby, where a neighborhood, not the neighborhood I was living in, but a neighborhood in my town, had built a part of their neighborhood over a slave cemetery. They didn't move the bodies like they were supposed to. They just built right over it. And one day, I mean, they were having all these supernatural problems in their houses. And then one day, a couple wanted to build a pool, dig a pool, and they unearthed some coffins in their yard, and it was a problem. Now, they ended up making a movie about it called Poltergeist. That was something that was based. It was a fictional story, but it was based on something that was actually happening in real life. Okay, very close to Galveston, Baytown area where I grew up. Okay, but all of these things they're picking up as people begin to accept more and more evil, as they begin to keep going. All right, they're having more and more problems. I have a friend of mine I'm hoping to get on here soon. He knew the truth about Christ, but has been going to gurus and certain healers, and has been plagued by dark spirits and a terrible physical ailment that doctors just cannot explain. So people, they're having these problems, and once you open doors to these demons, the problem is that it's just because you stop doesn't mean they go away. They feel like they have some kind of ownership over you, right? People are getting possessed. I don't know how else to say this, but It is not a joke. This is not a joke. The times that we're in, you really cannot play Christian. Okay, relationship with God. These things that have been going on. See, my town. It wasn't just that problem with the poltergeist in Diamond Head Road. That what's the name of that neighborhood? I know I can't think of it right now. I know that neighborhood. I passed by it and in it a million times. Anyway, the Highlands itself, which is next to Crosby, there was a lot of Indian burial ground. It was sacred, and then beyond that was the Battle of San Jacinto, where closer to Baytown area. There's been a lot of burials in the area I grew up on, and when even it, you're aware that it's there. Okay, it's not a normal life you grow up living when all around you all the time you can see and sense activity happening when you're all by yourself. I went to New Orleans, Louisiana. I knew I was getting sick years ago. So I decided to take my kids on a family trip before I got sick. I stayed at the Bourbon Street Hotel, and I didn't know at the time it was the most haunted hotel in New Orleans. I didn't know that there were documentaries about it, and that's where I was staying. It was a very nice hotel. But we were heading around the French Quarter because my grandmothers, two of them had lived there. My cousins, my aunt, half my family was from New Orleans. So I showed them around the French Quarter. But as soon as I got around to the pier, I could see the shadow of a boat that used to be there. It was a wooden ship, but I could see right through it. And I saw this mob of passengers coming right at me. And when they did, it's like they passed through me, and my hair even just as they went through. There's from here to Houston. There's a lot. Now, if you grow up in this, you're kind of like aware and used to it. But if you try to tell somebody who's not from an area that is a little weird, they get scared. So before things get any worse, before it starts amping up and ramping up for you, I want you to be aware that it is happening. It's already ramping up. It's just, if it hasn't gotten to you yet, be patient. It's on the way. I don't want you to be sideswiped by this. I want you to be covered in the blood. I want you to be able to recognize, okay, maybe even do a little bit of research on the area to see where all the burial is, the wars happen, where blood was shed, where anything might be off, because for some reason it's like it's a gate. It's like a gateway for things where sin, where blood has been shed. There's like it opens a gate. Now, we know that if we're lucky enough to make it, we'll see a new heaven and a new earth, not just war. Okay? And I wanted to show you something. Well, I can't show you, but I'll tell you, all right? Now, we talk about a new heaven and a new earth all the time. And everybody kind of wonders. Now, I did a video on this a while ago about a new heaven. I called it this New Heaven, New Earth theory. Most of the time, though, now listen to this, most of the time that parallel universes collide, this was on Google, most of the time that parallel universes collide, the bubbles burst. But sometimes, two, maybe more, can successfully combine before collapsing in on each other and forming a new one. This process mimics the hypothetical process outlined by universal collision or merger. Now, this is parallel universes colliding. And I just wondered if that had anything to do with it. It's just so weird because the way the Bible talks is that we're going to have an old, destroyed earth, but the remainder of people are going to end up on a new earth with a new Jerusalem. I don't know how that happens unless it's through parallel universes or something, or just straight up miracle. It could just be like God just makes this earth whole and new again. All right. Have a good one, Belinda. Hello, Connie. I was about to go anyway. Also, my car did break down, so if you have it in your heart, please send some funds to help me out with this. Um, and that's all I have for today. I love you, and I'm always working on something in the future to talk with you. And I'm sorry it took me so long to get back on this channel, but I'm always around. All right. I love you guys. God bless you, and I will talk to you.